It's time.
It's that time.
It's time. Gird your loins
Why?
and prepare. Someone has to save the world, and I call out to my friends and fans, especially the chat room. Yes, you. You are part of the solution. Certainly not part of the problem.
Okay.
All right.
You're ready.
So let's talk about. Okay, first of all, let's do the easy stuff, right? We talked to you guys actually about we showed it yesterday. I should go back to that. Did you guys see that? The stealth ship.
Oh, man, yeah.
The stealth ship. Take a look at this, you guys.
Unbelievable.
This is our new stealth ship.
Yep.
$3 billion a pop.
Wow.
$3 billion a pop. They're supposed to be able to sneak up on the shore, and now what's interesting. Now I don't know how. I assume that the military has a PR department. So when stories come out with spins, I assume it's from them, maybe incorrectly.
Right.
Okay, but the whole spin on this story has been the U.S. unveiling their new stealth ship in preparation to deal with future potential adversaries, specifically the Chinese. Now, when you say stuff like that, it's almost like, remember when Bush said the axis of evil? Do you people wonder why other countries get nervous and start, buying military supply? Because we go on the air and say, the axis of evil, they must be taken down. And they start ordering right there. They go online, 10 rockets. Hey, what did he call it? We must stop them. Can I order some?
Can I get a couple of those?
Some M16s. So they start because, you're not making it. So that they have continuously been essentially telling Iran that they may attack them.
No.
Okay, and because they've told them, we don't want you to develop a military weapon. Yet we keep threatening you so much, makes you want a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, what's the end result? You keep threatening us. What
you keep threatening us. Now, and none of us want them to detonate because Israel's about the size of Los Angeles.
True.
You blow up anything over there, you taking out everything.
That's true.
You're going to take out everything.
But they've survived.
No one will be around. There'll be no Palestinians. There'll be no Israelis. There'll be a big-ass dust bowl, okay? All right? So you can't there won't be no Lebanon. In fact, you're going to take out part of Egypt. So literally, we're at a time where these folks are sort of, being forced to live together. But we bring this one up because of the drama.
Right.
It's the talk, and we're just making people aware of the talk and what that actually means or why it occurs. Because there's a lot of talk about the U.S. attacking things.
Right.
There's a lot of talk.
Right.
And that's part of the anxiety that a lot of folks out there are feeling, because tensions are mounting about the war. Now, let me so this is the new ship. I want you to be aware that they're $3 billion a pop, and they say they need 300.
Yeah.
300.
300.
That's like when your woman goes out shopping for shoes.
Oh,
and she's not going to get like one pair of shoes.
No,
she's not get one pair of shoes. You hope she may get 2 pairs of shoes. But then when she come home with like 4 pair of shoes or 5 pair of shoes, you say, well, you lost your goddamn mind up in this shoe store.
You can tell he hasn't dealt with shoes.
Well, if you go to a discount shoe store, and
there you go.
Do you?
Yes, I do. 4 or 5 pairs of shoes you have to have. Well, you have to have them.
There you go.
Well, if you go to a bargain discount store, you might get 5 pairs of shoes.
But whose shoes are more expensive, men's shoes or women?
Women's shoes.
Women? Okay.
Well, it depends where you're shopping.
Whose bombs are more expensive? The U.S. bombs.
But I got a question for you from this because I think it goes to something else. Okay, I'm looking at this high-tech ship. Now, if the trade-off is that less men are required to man the ship, is that an advantage because it saves lives on our side at the cost of them being developed? What would you prefer? Well,
it could be. Those of you who've been in this line of watching the government's performance back in the mid 90s, with the senior Bush.
Right.
You had a move within the military toward a more technological military.
True.
In fact, everything started changing. You could even be the same old dumb soldier.
Right.
Because they're going to put stuff on you, and you had to be able to use the communications devices. And because of that technology, you spent more, but
Right.
the idea was that you would have less folks at risk.
True.
So that is part of it.
Yeah.
Even though, by the way, that ship, the one that we just talked about, you guys, the ship,
yeah.
it's supposed to be able to send out electromagnetic waves.
Yeah.
It's a new kind of a weapon.
Right.
Now, what do people say? Electromagnetic waves? Wow, what kind of weapon? Well, remember, the big push with weapons is to be able to kill all the people and leave the building standing.
Yeah.
Because you would like to just like kill all the people and come in and set up shop.
Yep.
And hopefully the goods are still there. The Hershey bars, potato chips, everything's still in the store.
Right.
You just zap and the people all die. Then you just move in and take over everything.
Right.
So there's a big push for that. And in fact, some of the bombs and the technology with the bombs revolve around some of the same things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it still begs the question: is there a cost in reducing the collateral damage on our behalf? Is there any cost that's too high when it saves the lives of those who are going in the military? I mean, it is one of those philosophical discussions. You have to look at it not from the threat of the country on the other side. That's going to always have threats. I haven't known a time there's not going to be a threat.
No, that's a great question, Vic. And theoretically, right, with the use of drones, right?
Yeah.
Right? And use of technology like this, you would think we would have less deaths, right?
That's right.
Right? We should have, right?
But it hasn't turned out that way.
No.
Because of the suicide.
Why? Well, because of suicides and also because you occupy.
Right.
See, occupy. Even when we went into Iraq and they bombed the hell out of Baghdad, I said then, well, the war is one thing, the occupation is something totally different.
Yeah.
Because when you do an occupation, people fight guerrilla warfare. The whole purpose of guerrilla warfare is to wear down your soldiers.
Right.
In other words, guerrilla warfare is when you fight from within the public population.
True.
You live within the people. You step out and attack the enemy. In an effort to get you, the enemy always has what? Collateral damage.
All day.
They always kill civilians.
Yeah.
So then it makes the civilians more against you, the occupier. At the same time, it demoralizes your troops
Right.
because they end up killing people that they question,
Right.
were they really the enemies? Most of you are too young, well, not all of you, some of our people are too young to remember Vietnam. And what happened, that was the issue with a bunch of these wars, that the soldiers over there begin to lose their belief. See, that's why they're quoting right now, half the soldiers coming back have post-traumatic stress disorder.
True.
Well, they would have had that in Vietnam, but it didn't exist.
True.
See,
True.
See, they had to come up with these diagnoses, and they had to make the DSM-2 or whatever,
Right.
for whatever DSM they're using today.
Right.
Which is the book that the psychiatrists put their diagnosis in. Once you're in that book, you can get disability. So that's part of the whole thing. You have to get the psychiatrist to declare something
Right.
as an illness. It gets entered into the DSM. Once it's in the DSM, you can sue for that as a disability, all of that. Well, this is what happens in wars, what happened in Vietnam too. What happened in Vietnam? That's why we showed you the video, Sir, No Sir, which was about how the soldiers actually led to the early end of the war in Vietnam by refusing to obey.
Right.
Increasing amount of soldiers who started to say, no, I will not do this. Well, this is what's happening right now. The soldiers that are coming back from overseas have a high degree of depression.
Right.
About a third will be homeless.
True.
Okay? Now, if you go ask them, are they proud of what they did? You're not getting what you're getting on the TV shows.
No.
That's why they're coming back whacked up.
Right.
Because, as they said in Vietnam, you would finally get to the sniper and it'd be a 14-year-old girl. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, shooting at you. And that's what happens again when you fight the guerrilla warfare. There's a term that's I think Sun Tzu, the Art of War, talked about the death of 1,000 cuts.
Right.
They said, you can kill the strongest creature if you just cut him one time, a little cut.
Right.
One cut a day for 1,000 days, and he will die.
Yeah. Now,
They say that's the war. In Vietnam, they said they were willing to lose 30 for one.
Right.
They were willing to lose 30 of their men to get one American. You can't win wars when the
conventional.
people are that committed to getting you out, and you're over there and can't wait to get home.
Right.
Okay, it's hard to be committed to those kind of wars of occupation. That's why they tend to fail.
Well, now here's a question that I'm gonna follow up with PMC. PMC, you because I believe that the simple questions are the ones that
It is
sometimes
3 and 4 now. Thank you.
difficult to answer. PMC, you say, why do we need 300 of these ships? My question to you is, how many is enough? What's the cutoff point where it will be acceptable to you? And I don't have the answer to that. So let's just say the story said we need 100 of these ships. I think you would be asking the same question.
Well, that's what happened when I was in college. I think back then I was told we had enough nuclear weapons to destroy the world like 30, 40 times. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how much ass-kicking stuff? That's where I go. Who are you gearing up for?
Right.
Okay. Half the world can't even make a car.
Right.
Okay, anything.
Right.
Okay. So your nearest competitor, if it is the Chinese, remember I'm the one who told you, don't trust me, go online and Google military spending by country.
Right.
It's up there. Well, at least what they release, which is probably a lie.
Right.
But you have to then figure out are you thinking they're lying high or lying low?
Right.
See, to me, I think they're lying low.
Right.
But when you look it up, you're going to see that the U.S. outspends the entire world combined.
Right.
Okay, so 300 of those ships at $3 billion apiece, and who gets to set the price of the ships? Yeah.
And like I said,
Okay.
No, and I can't remember this, but I watched a story the other night where we tested the atomic bombs on the islands, southwest of the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh
way
yeah,
down. I forgot the location.
Those like the Tongan. That's not
Yeah,
Tonga. It's one of them other somewhere out there.
And
but the islands are not
right,
worth it.
right.
They poison.
Right. Now here's the part that it's a story it's wrapped. You know what got me more than anything else, and I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm saying this, that we actually detonated 23 times in the same area. Usually you get that we tested once or twice, but when they tell you 23 times in the same area, well, looking at one of the representatives of the military speaking to the islanders who were on the island, I didn't know that they had to actually relocate them. And to hear the speech of what he was telling them and saying this is for the good of the country.
Wow.
And I was going, but that is their country. And there's no follow-up to say where they went, and I'm pretty sure there is some documentation. I'm not worried about qualifying this, but it is when you're told we're about to devastate your area for the good of the country, you have to relocate to someplace you've never seen before. That struck me more than anything else, because the testing, I believe, is going to go on no matter what. It's the idea that somebody comes to you and say, what you're used to now, we're going to take you away from this, and this lifestyle is going to be totally different. Striking to me. So it's just looking back. All right, that's not a conspiracy. That's just my shared experience.
And it's not all conspiracy. It's also politics. I was even thinking about dealing with that as the topic, because it is a lot of politics.
Right.
Now, and remember, and I'm not making any bones as to being in the middle.
Right.
I am on the side of the little man, the regular working man. Now, it is a thankless job, usually done for ungrateful people. You have to understand that. Mm-hmm. Because Vic and I talk about this. But when you get to a certain point in life and you sit around in certain intellectual circles, one of the questions that sometimes gets asked is it even valuable to be your brother's keeper? I've raised this issue because I like to raise the issue because I think people don't want to do it. And I want them to come out and admit it. See, I want them to come out and say, I don't give a damn about people. Let them die. Okay? Wow. But because that's what I'm trying to get them to say. I want them to admit it. But we have that, because a lot of times when you're having discussions, it becomes apparent to me that people don't care. The story we raised yesterday that Brandy didn't get to hear about, Brandy, was about cities cracking down on the homeless. 50 cities in the U.S. are now cracking down with increased laws against the homeless. Laws that say you cannot feed them.
What?
You can't drive up and give them things because you're encouraging them to be there. It's almost like we want to sweep them under a rug. And see, what happens is that for me, I feel hurt. when I see them.
Yeah.
See, I don't know how other people feel, and I don't know how you're supposed to feel.
True.
And I'm not trying to lecture you on that level, but I know when I see them, something in me feels hurt.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like the way it makes me feel. And when I see them, I also don't think like, well, I wish I didn't have to look at you. See, people don't want them lined up in front of the Home Depot because they don't want to have to see them. They don't care that they exist or not.
Right.
Well, for a lot of people, if you don't see it, they don't believe it's out there. So let's hide it so people can ignore it. I mean, I drive when I come here. That's why I see it on my way here, and of course, I go through the same thing where I wonder what their story is, and I feel bad for them. And you're hoping they're doing their best. You know?
Yeah, they are. And you know, it's the part where you feel like you're being told by your own. Let's just say this is the country we live in, that it is not your duty to help the fellow man.
Well, if they do, that doesn't seem that's what you're saying here. I say now, here I get them Christians. So here you go now. Right. It's supposed to be a Christian country,
right?
What would Jesus do? Okay.
Well, we're trying to help all the other countries. It always drives me crazy because we need to go back to helping our own country and our own homeless and.
Yep.
That's actually because we're really not helping the other countries.
No, it's the face of the
Lord. But I'm with you.
Right.
Well, we talked, and that's the truth. But Victor, we talked about that.
Right.
What is foreign aid? Foreign aid is how you get the Pakistani government to allow you to put your drones over their territory.
That's true.
So foreign aid is you tell them the same way you get people to vote with you in the UN and all these resolutions. If they don't vote with you, threaten to cut off their foreign aid. So the foreign aid says, I will give you money. You could call it a loan, but you don't have to pay it back every year, but you will politically support me in these ways. Now, that goes out to countries like Pakistan that are known to be your enemy, but they allow you to have drones flying over their country. Okay? Now, is it amazing, too, somehow, that the foreign aid somehow seems to end up in personal people's Swiss bank accounts? Like Saddam Hussein got foreign aid for Iraq for working along with us. Okay, Iran, the Shah of Iran, okay, who had that country, we kept him in power. They got foreign aid. Marcos in the Philippines, they got foreign aid. Virtually every country in Central and South America, because the CIA and the U.S. government declared that was our areas, and don't you dare come over here and try to have any influence. That led to Cuba being embargoed, right?
Yep.
So the foreign aid actually is money that goes to officials, and you'd be surprised how much foreign aid seems to end up in people's private accounts. Because who gets the foreign aid? Where does it go to? Who accounts for that? Who gets to go?
Overseer?
Yeah, who's the overseer of the aid, money? Yeah. No, it goes to officials. Muammar Gaddafi got aid.
Right.
Okay, but that's why. Remember what it is: political conspiracy.
Right.
Remember what we do, and politics. We give you the other thing. While we're on Gaddafi, we did get some questions about that, and we reminded folks about Gaddafi in Libya, still in turmoil. That the reason why the U.S. is very silent about the Libyan revolution that ousted Muammar Gaddafi is because the people who did the revolution, they don't like us. See what happens with a lot of these revolutionaries in these countries? They also don't like who? The U.S.
Right.
And so you have to be careful about who you support, because then after you get done supporting them with that financial aid, they go, we didn't really like you. We got the money.
Hey, man, just want to give you, sometimes we get messages from people who may be in the chat line, some may be watching, some may be texting. Erica Valdez, who will be coming on the show, say, hello, lovers. That's the diva.
Fine ass Erica Valdez. Fine ass Erica Valdez.
Yeah, so she's coming on, but
let me show you her picture because she's coming soon.
Yeah, she is.
Coming Monday, right?
Yeah.
She's going to be here. Take a look. There she is with Brandy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We get to meet her. I get to meet her. Have you met her?
Yes, we've met her.
So she's been here before.
Yes, she has. She has a wonderful energy.
Yeah.
So she'll be here.
Yeah.
And she's going to be in a good day. Not the conspiracy day. Okay, so that's the other topic. Now, got two other things I want to bring up. The first one is an interesting article that came out in the LA Times, and it's about Putnam's Law. and the effect of Putnam's Law on American culture. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about this, because I thought it related so much to today's political situation. First of all, Putnam's Law is actually named after David Putnam, who's a famous British film producer. He's the one who did Chariots of Fire.
Yep.
Now, what happened was Chariots of Fire was a bold kind of a movie. It was way different than what was being done at the time. First of all, it was about people running. No one wanted to make movies about stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff, you guys, they used to think. We'll hint at them. That certain kind of movies that you would not watch.
Right.
Movies like this about running, they said that America would not watch. Just like movies about black folks in romantic relationships.
Right.
When I was young, they felt like that was not stuff people would watch. Hence, you didn't get any movies that showed that.
Right.
Okay. Well, Putnam broke a lot of rules. Okay. And because he did this film, and he did it for small amounts of money, and he really hated the idea of a bloated Hollywood. So he was a maverick. Right. And to say that he was outside the box is an understatement, people said.
Right.
But after he had that big success with Chariots of Fire, so big, they actually hired him to come on and run one of the major studios.
Oh, that's a success story.
Now, what's happened is that they ended up, though, Victor, they ended up firing him. Okay?
Power struggle, what's up?
After about 1 year, before he got to do almost anything. And the whole story was about why did that happen. And that's why they talk about Putnam's Law. And it's because he was so outside the box
right.
with what he was doing that he was a threat. And that even though they liked him as a wonder child, the closer it got to the time, the more paranoid people got.
Right.
And that's where people started using something that they quoted as Putnam's Law. Now, Putnam's Law says it is more acceptable to fail in conventional ways than in unconventional ways. I'll say that again.
Yes, it is.
It said it's more acceptable to fail
right.
in ways that are conventional than in unconventional. Right. In other words, it's perceived differently if you fail the way that everybody else fails.
Right, because it's accepted.
Right, as opposed to failing out. Now, we're talking about this because how it affects the mentality of your leadership.
True.
Now, they also say, this is also considered another way of saying Putnam's Law. They say you can screw up with impunity so long as you screw up like everybody else.
Interesting.
Now, this is particularly a big deal in the entertainment industry and in politics, where the goal is usually to make sure you fit right in the box.
Right.
Leadership actually causes you to step outside the box. Okay?
Right.
For example, your politicians who study so much of what you care about then struggle to say the right things. My criticism of the president, he came out on gay marriage long after people have been actively lobbying publicly for a long time, when the studies said it was okay.
Right.
He didn't come out and lead on gay marriage. He waited till 80% of the population was leaning toward things. And then he said, oh my goodness, I support gay marriage.
Now, I'm gonna be over here on the other side, because you know I am. I'm going over here and go like this. Okay, here's the model. Do you want raw data first and then go out philosophically? Or do you go out there and say, look, without the data, I'm just going to tell you what I want?
Well, that's what Putnam Law says. Putnam Law,
right.
They're saying is this is what's guiding your leadership. When you look at your leadership, both in companies...
Right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You know what? Spank him.
Politics. In companies, politics, all of this is what people are doing. When the CEO takes over, they don't want to try anything new.
Of course.
Because even if they know if they fail,
right,
and they do the same old shit,
right,
no one even criticizes them. This is what's happening with the president. When I talk to folks who love the president, you know what the number one things they kind of say? Here's the list of things. Well, he's not worse than Bush.
Right.
Or he hasn't messed it up that bad.
All right, he already got it messed up, and so he's still messed up, because don't you think he has a lot on his plate? And then there's the ones who even say they feel sorry for the president.
Well, yeah,
and I go, you feel sorry for the leader of the world.
Right.
Really, who could have anything he wants. If a hurricane hits tomorrow and half the world blows up, his woman and kids are eating shrimp.
Yep. Or poor boys.
So you're really concerned. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now, that comes back to the Putnam's Law.
Right.
Which is what I am accusing the current political situation, because this is what we talked about, the president being changed. I'm saying this is the danger. Now, people say, well, Mario being extra hard on him. Well, I am. He's a black man. Now, people say, well, that doesn't make me be less hard on you. Imagine, and I explained this to my Jewish friend, too. I said, if the president was a Jew,
right,
and he didn't outwardly acknowledge some Jewish things,
right,
well, you would have a problem with him. If the president was a woman and she did not acknowledge any woman's issues, or mostly what she did was lecture to women.
Of course.
See, the president, that's what we said as part of the conspiracy issue. That we said that, watch, as a black man, I can tell you, to be president, a black president has to publicly lecture black folks, and he will ignore and never speak about racism.
Right.
Almost never.
Right.
Why? Because the political climate is that no one wants black folks to be angry.
Of course.
So no political candidates that are black can say racism.
No, can't ignore.
Or anger. Right. They have to tell you how wonderful it is.
Right.
You know, I've done so well in this country. It's so open and so equal. They have to say those things because, again, this whole thing. And so this gets back to Putnam's Law. Because the president, to me, is playing it safe. That's why he's continued everything George Bush has done. I said this to everybody. The Republicans are only taking issue with him because they have to on paper. Technically, he's done everything they wanted.
Name a president who didn't play it safe.
Putnam's Law.
Name a president who didn't play it safe. I just think the time that you're in is relative to the time that you're in.
The last one who didn't play it safe,
watch it.
John F. Kennedy.
There you go.
And what happened to him?
Right.
He's dead.
Wait, now, Mario, here's the part. I can never be in the position of somebody who has already stood for something greater and they've gone at the hand of something that was violent. So at that point, when you're the person who's after, you say, there's a propensity in this country to actually say idealism. Maybe that's how people are accepting it, not the reality of what things should be on an equal platform. And to me, as a president, would you go out and say, look, I'm going to take the greater role?
Yeah, I would. I would personally.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Because let me tell you why I feel about this, you guys. And I'm not saying I'm acknowledging it's more difficult.
It is.
But see, I'm a person who has passions.
Children? Keep it in consideration. You got children and family.
No, I like the older girls.
Say no. No.
Even though the other ones,
you got you got family
keep
now.
Bubblegum.
See, you got family.
Well, yeah,
family.
Right.
What do you do?
I have passion. See, and I think I understand Putnam's Law because so many of us out there are part of the Putnam's Law, right? You live in life safe.
Right.
It's like a lot of you got married not because you really wanted to be married, just so you could say you were married.
Right.
You had no expectations out of marriage.
Right.
You didn't think you were going to be married forever.
Yeah.
You did Putnam's Law.
Right.
You don't care if you screw up, as long as you screw up like everybody else.
Right.
You go to your job and you do the minimal effort so you can fit right in. You're not better than anybody,
right,
but you're not worse than anybody. You're Putnam's Law. You're sticking right there in the middle of no man's land, doing nothing. It's what we said about the people that come through here.
Right.
We meet folks that are trying to get as far as they can with the least effort.
Right.
And we're guys trying to get as far as we can with the most effort.
Yeah.
They're not even the same kind of people at all.
Right.
Not even closely related.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Putnam's Law.
Right.
So here's the topic. Political commentary. We're challenging the whores that we call, that are our politicians.
And we're
the prostitutes who continually prostitute themselves on a daily basis,
right,
to sell themselves to the current popular opinion. We are actually calling them out and saying, why don't we not live to be in Putnam's Law? Why do we live to take risks? So that's why, if you look at Pax Stereo TV, when you see how we conduct ourselves and the folks that we interact with, you will see that the one thing that we believe in doing is taking risks. We will take risks. We believe that we are out there almost all alone,
right,
except for our wonderful friends and associates and you in the chat room. We feel like we're out there all alone, and we're taking these risks. And we certainly are not trying to fail like the status quo. I'll be goddamned. we will not fail. Like if we're gonna fail, we're gonna be out there in front. Okay, running right through that shit. Okay, just know it's none of that laid back, we'll try, maybe crap.
Well, let me ask you something.
Excuses, and I know, Vic, we know people who live like this.
I know, but let me ask you
what
this.
What a trap.
I got a question. This is going to be, I'm going to ask Brandy, along with you, Mario. 2, number 1, your message is people should take, it's better to take greater risk, number 1. And 2, Brandy, do you feel that what you're always involved in is a risk because of other considerations? In other words, when you want to do your absolute dream, whatever it is, do you think you're getting to unload on it with like reckless abandon, or are you taking a massaging of safety around it because you want to protect, you want to have security? How are you approaching what you do in your entrepreneurial phase?
Oh goodness, I just approach it my way, which is doing what I want to do at this point in my life. So I'm kind of reckless.
Okay, no, which is not saying, we're not saying reckless is bad. We're saying smart. Somebody says control chaos, and I truly believe this. Now, Mario, are you? See, I'm going back to this point. Would our country be a better country? Because they say there's about 1 to 2% of true entrepreneurs. If there were more entrepreneurs, more risk takers, are we saying that's the road you should go on? Think outside the box, stay outside the box.
I think so.
Okay.
I think we benefit by having innovation. I think we benefit by having folks who are risk takers, because that's how progress.
Right.
The dreamers have to first think it's possible. So you guys have to understand, when I first was beta testing this stuff, on the day that it occurred to me that we could broadcast to the world from this room, I got totally excited. It is what the implications were.
Right.
Okay? And even to today, what excites me so much is that how much we are able to use evolving technology for us. Right now, we can broadcast around the world, and people can log in. They can't control that. Right. PMC can log in and comment and pass videos. They can't control that. The opportunities never existed. I got excited. I was all alone in the room, just all excited by myself. And Vic will tell you, I was running around telling people, we can do internet television. We can do internet television.
Oh, and
we can do internet television.
And do one thing before you carry on. Attribute who was the flashpoint, the type of person who was the flashpoint for introducing the internet to us. Was it a male or a female? Think about it now. Somebody brought it over.
Well, the internet,
as far as what you
the internet was brought to us by a woman.
Yes, it was.
Was introduced by one of Vic's.
Okay, they have to go that far, man.
Well, see, you brought it up.
She has some style
I wasn't
too.
trying to go there.
Yeah, it's one of Vic's. It's on the Vic list.
That's wrong.
He got quite a list himself.
See, there we go. I was trying to keep it serious, you guys, but I was just trying to say something. I believe in that karmatic thing where all of a sudden it started off from the point of somebody coming over here while we're doing something totally different. And I remember her quote, and I remember being in the front of the house. It says, "You guys need to get onto the web." And then I ran in and said, and I remember Mario's response. Watch this, Mario. I'm gonna say this is the cynical part of you, because you actually, before you start getting involved, said, "Yeah, well, I don't know about that shit." Now look at you.
Well, that's why I say, I make the same mistakes that you all. Only I do it for 2 weeks. You guys do it for 2 years. So I take a stupid position. I change mine.
That's right.
2 years later, you guys are still.
Thank you.
That's why I say, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Right.
Let it go.
Right.
If you don't change, Vic and I have this saying.
Yeah.
If you don't find yourself absolutely reversing your position regularly,
if
you're not doing social media.
You're not going to make it.
Right, because they made me change my mind so many times I can't even name. I can't even name.
Yep.
Okay, so I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring the point about the leadership, the point about where we're going, the part about the American culture, and remember, and again, this is my little pep talk to my friends. When you're trying to do what we're doing, you're not going to get a bunch of your peers to come out and say how wonderful. They're not. They don't even understand what you're doing. So your old lady ain't going to say, "Go team." Your husband ain't gonna say rah rah. Your kids are gonna be off doing what they do. So you're gonna end up, if you're doing this, if you're following me in this and doing your own thing with internet television, you are going to have to get used to the fact that you're kind of out there.
Right.
See, you're out there. They can't sing your praise because they don't understand. Right. But don't be a victim of Putnam's Law.
Right.
Don't try to stay within the boundaries and fail like everybody else has been failing.
Well, it's a change. The new corporation is people. Social media will have its own category because you've been raised in an environment of corporate pioneering, employment, work with us. People who are behind the machine stay faceless. You really don't get to know them. And now people are being pressured to go, I have to have a face and be out there now. I can't separate myself no matter what I do and go, well, I have this hamburger chain. He says, oh, you know, I deal with drive-through traffic. I don't have to. I said, you don't understand that your competition is growing up saying, I'm going to let people know about my hamburger stand before they even know that they can walk up to yours because I'm going to put it to them in their face. And it's nothing like a commercial that constantly grows in front of you, even when you're not buying, because they implant the seed that you're constantly thinking about, oh, I remember them. All that I have to do is make you remember the name even if you don't use us. That's the model. How often do we go and buy things that we didn't, at the very first time we heard the name of it, you probably won't even go visit it for a year, but you know who they are. That's called brand. A lot of everybody's I know of is sitting there going, well, I don't want to. I say, so what you're saying is that you don't want to implant the seed of your service, and they can buy later.
Let's go. Well,
that's what I'm saying. You know, like I say, gee, you're rushing headlong into mediocrity.
Yes, you are.
Okay, yeah. So, you know,
I know.
That's why, again, we're doing what we do because I don't worry about those things. I want to do something that's excellent and different. So my criteria are merely that. That's the gods that we serve, okay?
Right.
Excellence and difference and innovation. So therefore, I don't worry about the money first.
Right.
And now why? But see, people, I know. But here's the thing: you with innovation, it always becomes that kind of an issue.
Right.
And we talked about that. When you look at the successful companies, this is what they do. It's, in other words, you don't worry so much about where the bus is going. You get the right people on the bus and the right people off the bus. Once you do that, then the people who are on the bus will figure out where it should go.
Right.
See, my thing is, I don't think I have to tell you where internet television should go. Mac will tell you.
Right.
PMC will tell you. Brandy will tell you.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to tell us where they want it to go, their own place.
Right.
And that's where it's supposed to go. And I'm so comfortable with that.
Right.
That is the revolution. And that is what fires me up. When I just dream of the potential of this technology in the hands of creative people, even more like the ones we already know, that's fascinating.
Right.
What they will do. So I'm telling you, there's going to be some young folks. I know what I would be like if I was 16 right now stumbling into this.
Right.
I know exactly. I would damn sure have a show. You know I would have a show. And my friends would all be in it. You damn sure I'd be recruiting them.
All
you
day
will
long.
be in my show.
It'll be just three things.
They'd be sending me home from school with the camera.
3 things.
Tell Mario to stop bringing the camera to school.
Women. More women
I know,
for Mario.
I can take it to my friend's house because all I got to do is have my computer. So
That's it. Now, let me ask you something, because Brand, Mario and I talk about this all the time. I say, you know, when you get in Conspiracy Wednesday, sometimes you forget that you have that wonderful talent sitting next to you, and I never get to pick your brain as often because we're so busy in that. You guys don't understand. This woman's an entrepreneur. She's on a mission. When she comes over here, even just the arena of presence of I got things to do. Don't talk to me right now. That's how she is. Now let me ask you something. When did the light switch for you? When you said, I'm about to pimp this bitch. Sorry, that's not the terms you use. But when you, but when
that's the vibe she showed, though.
Right, that's it.
That's the vibe.
There was a light that went on. When did it go on when you said, I'm on the other side, and what did it?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm divorced, so... You know, I knew I've always wanted to be in the business, and finally I was like, I just need to build my own brand and do my own thing, and I'm getting older, you know.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be in this business, so let's work it and do the things that I love and what I'm passionate about.
Wow. Wow. So it's simple. You was
So
already
we met you
the
with
passion
Heather
was already
Clay,
there.
right? Right. She came with Heather Clay.
Right. She did. She did.
As Heather Clay's manager, Mama B's
Yes. That's right.
management.
Yeah.
And I'm still managing a few girls, and I'm gonna, always continue to do that. I think for just a few special people, like my friends that are twins, and a couple of of course, my kids, which I always say, I'm not gonna let anybody else manage my own kids, and then work on my own thing.
Yeah. I understand.
My Granny Flores TV.
What part I like, what she's going to do will not kind of reflect what we're doing. It's not going to be how we do things. It's going to be totally separate. So to me, that's the part they have yet to see come. So I can't wait to see it.
All right. Now, next week, I want you to know that next week we're going to be doing something a little different, but still conspiracy. I'm narrowing it down to one discussion pretty much,
Right.
and it's all about the religious and spiritual implications of cloning.
Okay.
Now, why?
That's a big conversation.
Can't find people really taking this subject to heart as to what's out there and what's available. So just to set the tone for next week, understand that I can scrape your cheek today, come back a year later and hand you a 3-month-old child that is 100% from your DNA. Who is that person in there? As that person grows up, who is that person? What is their soul? Do they have a soul? Is it morally okay to enslave them and have clone slaves? Is it okay to raise a clone and harvest their organs when you need a kidney? Can we keep them in a little box outside and screw them every now and then just for a little fun? Okay. So we're going to deal with the moral and because why? Because it's already here. And speaking with a religious person, I know a guy who's a minister, I asked him, what do you tell your flock now? He says, what do you mean? I said, now that you know that man can create life, how have you reconciled that with your religious teachings? When you speak to your flock, because we can create life. Now, if you don't know that, Mr. Minister, I can scrape your cheek and bring you a child in a year from now that's 3 months old. It's 100%. Can be done very easily.
True.
Doesn't even require a whole bunch of nothing.
Right.
So now, if we can do that, does that not mean I can create life? And if I create that life, who is that person?
Right.
Believe me, we're going to talk about this next week. Ask your friends those same questions. You'll get some scary answers from some of the people you love.
Wait a minute. We already. Got
I've
some
asked some of
answers.
my friends.
No, on the show.
I mean, I can have them go to work for me.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And then if I do need a kidney, I say, yeah, you can screw them too, maybe. How about beat them sometime when you're a little mad? We need some energy.
There's going to be scenarios where people treat them lesser than.
Well, that's
And
why
like
we're going to raise
objects.
that issue.
And there are people.
Now, I will just give you a hint. I have my own opinions, which says you can create that life, but you can't control what enters that life. You
Right.
can't control the human soul.
Right.
You can make clones all day, but you will have to watch them grow up to find out who is that individual. But know that this science is not crazy, and know that the conspiracy is, know that your government and scientists within your government would have wanted to gather the DNA of the most anything, the most smart, the most physical, the most murderous. You would want to gather all that DNA and store it up. You know you would want to clone Einstein's
Right.
genes and just keep them in a little underground place and see if they were smart enough to make you some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you know you would have to find that out. Conspiracy Wednesday, be there next week.
There we go.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. And again, that's been Conspiracy Wednesday. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Got you thinking, I know. Whoa. Mario, cloning shit messed me up now. I was thinking I could use a clone.
I think it's robots.
Robots are coming too. It's hard they getting those lubricants.